Good morning, everyone. Today I brought a very motivating chapter for you. It's from your MCB, lesson number 9, Puru the Brave. Now you must be thinking, what is this Puru? Puru was a Indian king. He ruled India, like not India, like a part of, he was a king in northern India, and he was very brave. Even the great Alexander, the king of Macedonia, recognized his bravery. He became his fan because Puru was really very great. He was a great soldier and very brave. Now, this is a play. Actually, this story is in a play form. Play means drama. So, we have names of different characters, and I'll just read out. It's very motivating and we must learn something from it. Like, we should never bow to others out of fear, or just to be like just to out of fear, or you can say just to like kind of buttering them. Rather, if we want to be friendly with someone, we should maintain our self respect. We should never give up our self respect. Yeah, this is what we are going to learn here. Alexander the Great was the son of King Philip II of Macedonia in ancient Greece. He was tutored like his teacher. Tutor means teacher. He was tutored by the great philosopher Aristotle in politics, war, philosophy, and Greek culture. Aristotle, a very renowned name as a thinker. He was a very important, or you can say a very knowledgeable person. And he knew so much about everything. He was the tutor of Alexander. So he taught him lot of things about politics, warfare, philosophy, like how to live a life is called philosophy, and Greek culture, like what was prevalent in Greece those days. At the tender age of 16, Alexander took control of the Macedonian army and gained his soldiers' respect for his bravery and battle strategies. He was just 16 years old when he was the master of his army, Greek army. He became the master, and all the soldiers were full of respect for him because he was really very brave. And strategies, plans. He was very good at making battle plans. How to win a battle, he knew very well. Like, he could think of a lot of things. He became the king of Macedonia at the age of 20. Just at the age of 20, he became the king. When his father was murdered, by somebody. Like, being a king is not easy. It's not only good things. It's very difficult to be king. People are full of, like, they become your enemies, they become jealous of you, and like, people become jealous of the kings and they try to kill him. Most of, like, many a times it has happened in the history. Now that we don't have kings, no? Kings used to be there earlier. He wanted to conquer Greece and Persia and build a great empire. Empire, uska kingdom. He wanted to conquer over all other kings. He fought many battles for the next 13 years. For 13 years, he fought a lot of battles. He wanted to conquer over every king. He wanted to become the king of the world. He died of fever at the age of 32 as the ruler of the largest Western empire in the ancient world. And just at the age of 32, he died even. He had a very strange fever, very mysterious fever, and he died of it. But for 13 years, whichever battle he fought, He never lost any battle. He never lost to anybody. Now let's read about this great battle of Jhelum. Jhelum, is a river in India, Kashmir mein. So let's find out about this battle of Jhelum, which he fought with King Puru. Puru was a king in northern India. Here we have a setting. हम एक setting, we just play this drama is about a Saya. Like when Alexander came to fight with he came to conquer India. First he had to conquer over Puru. So he fought a battle with him and he's sitting in his tent, camp लगाते ना, they temporary shelter उनका होता है. So he was sitting there and here we have a setting. हम आपको बता रहे हैं. Alexander, one character is Alexander, the king of Macedonia who conquered Greece and Persia. हो गया उसका. He has conquered over these two big empires. Now Puru, a king of northern India. ये दो तो main characters हैं here. Now the camp of Alexander on the banks of the Jhelum. Inside a tent, Alexander is sitting on a high chair and his 4 generals are sitting on low chairs because he is the king. So he's sitting on a higher chair, like working like his throne. 2 Greek soldiers are standing at the door. Alexander is having a talk with his generals. Now we have to see how he talks and how Puru talks with him. How he talks with Puru and how Puru talks with him. This is very interesting to read. Alexander says, the battle of Jhelum will go down in the history of our country. Going down in history means will be remembered for always. So first general says, it will go down in the history of India too. Even the people of India will never forget this battle. It was a very fierce battle, between Alexander's army and Puru's army. Second general says, it will go down in the history of the world. The entire world will never forget this battle. It was such a fierce battle. Third general says, I have never fought such a battle before. Generals, head of armies. Those who are given the command of a part of army, so they are called generals. So there are 4 generals with Alexander here. 4 says, I haven't either. Even I have never fought such a battle before. Until the last moment, I couldn't believe that we would be able to defeat the army of Porus. Finally, they had defeated Porus army, Indians' army. So he says, until the last moment, I couldn't believe that we would be able to defeat Porus' army. Alexander, yes, it has been a great battle, perhaps the greatest of my life. I must say, every Indian soldier fought like a tiger. Of course, Indians are very brave like tigers. So even he said, yeah, the Indian soldiers were very brave. They were fighting very bravely like tigers. Each and every soldier wanted to safeguard their motherland. They were not ready to give away their land to the Greek general, to the Greek king. The first general says, they fought like devils, your majesty. They were not humans. They were fighting like devils. Alexander, the Indians are good soldiers. They know how to fight. They fight better than our men. Like he is the commander of his army and he is saying Indian soldiers fought better than our own army. He is accepting it. Very big thing, na? ये मानना कि my thing is not good and other things is good. Second general says, but the generals aren't as good as ours. Second general says, उनके generals अच्छे नहीं हैं, The generals are not as good as we are. Soldiers are definitely better than ours even. But generals are not as good as ours. Alexander says, if you mean they aren't as brave as the Greek generals, I don't agree with you. Alexander says, अगर तुम ये कहना चाहते हो that their generals were not as brave as the Greek generals, then I don't agree with you. Like, I don't feel this way. Second general says, but they aren't very skillful, your highness. He says, उनको skills भी नहीं आते. They are not very skillful. Alexander says, I see what you mean. Alexander says, Ah, now I agree. Like, I can understand what you're trying to say, and here I agree with you. Indian generals में क्या, what were the shortcomings, what were the faults of the Indian generals? The Indian generals are still following the old methods of warfare. Everything keeps changing now. We should adopt the new things and leave out the old ones. But क्या था कि Indian generals were still following the old method of fightings. They were following the old methods warfare के. Their battle plans are faulty. उनके battle plans अच्छे नहीं हैं. They don't know कि किधर बैटल करना चाहिए, किसको पहले हराना चाहिए, किधर पहले जाना चाहिए. They cannot make battle plans very nicely, and they depend too much upon their elephants. वो more than their horses or on foot soldiers होते ना, they don't depend on them, they depend on their elephants. Now elephants are very brave, of course, huge होते हैं, powerful होते हैं, but they cannot be as quick as a horse, as flexible as a horse. तो उनकी ये fault है कि they depend on elephants, they don't depend on horses. Third general says, I was amazed to see how Porus fought in the battle of Jhelum. Now, Puru and Porus is same name because they are not Indian, so they are not able to call him Puru. They are calling him Porus, but actually his name was Puru. So, third general says, I was amazed to see how Porus fought in the battle of Jhelum. He fought very bravely. Fourth general, he continued to fight even when others had left the field. Like all his soldiers, either they were hurt or they had run away, but he alone went on fighting. I think he killed at least 100 of our men with his sword. Second general says, and injured many more. Killed the 100 and injured many more than 100. First general says, he was badly injured himself. Even Puru was badly injured, no, fighting all alone with so many people. Soldiers, in fact, second general says, that's why we were able to capture him. तभी तो हमने उसको capture कर लिया. Otherwise, we would not have been able to, because he was very injured. Alexander, oh, he is a brave man and a great soldier. I wish he were one of my generals. Alexander was so much impressed by him, saying he is a very brave man and a very great soldier. I wish, मेरे को ऐसा लगता है, he was my general. Second general, he is a proud man, your majesty. वो proud भी बहुत है. Alexander, a soldier is not a soldier if he is not proud. Alexander actually respects bravery. He knows good things should be respected. वो किसी का भी हो, चाहे अपनी enemy में हो. We must respect good things, है ना? We must appreciate them. So he says, so what if he is proud? A soldier should be proud. Proud नहीं होगा तो कहेगा, okay, मेरे को तो छोड़ दो and take away my land. So soldier should be proud. No, I'll not give my land. Fight with me. So he said, I am not at all angry with him. Even if he is a proud man, I like him. He was not frightened by the news of my victories and refused to bow before me. He says, even when he was hearing all about my victories, I had been conquering every land, every king, he was not frightened by it. He was not at all frightened. And he refused to bow before me. He just refused to bow, means to bend in front of someone in respect, out of respect. He said he refused to bow before me because वो भी तो king है. If Alexander is a king, even Puru is a king. He will, first general, he'll be brought to your majesty soon. Let us see how he behaves. Now, since they had captured Puru, no, they were bringing Puru in front of Alexander. Maybe Alexander wanted to punish him because उसने उसका friendship का जो proposal था ना, Alexander का जो एक plan offer आया था to be his man, वो Puru ने reject कर दिया था, refuse कर दिया था. That's why the battle was fought. What Alexander used to do, वो पहले बोलता था to the every king कि like come under my rule. तो फिर आप अपने लैंड के किंग रह सकते हो. but on top of you all, I'll be the higher king. So many kings who were scared of him, who used to get scared of him, they used to tell him, like, agree to his plan. But Puru ने इस plan को reject कर दिया था. He said, I'll not come under your power. Like, I'll not take you as my king. I'm the king myself. I should be an independent king. तो battle fight हो गई. Now Alexander says, I'm sure he will not behave like a coward. Coward, opposite of brave. So he said, I'm sure he is such a brave man, he will not behave like a coward. Sir, a soldier enters and says, Sir, Porus has been brought to the camp. Alexander says, has he been put in chains? Alexander asks the soldier, has he been put in chains? Soldier, yes, your majesty. You know how the people, king के time में कैसे जो prisoners होते थे, how they were brought to the king's court, all in chains, इधर उधर hands and legs all were tied. Soldier says, yes, your majesty. Alexander says, go and remove the chains and bring him in. Alexander is paying respect to him. He's become his fan. I don't want to see a brave man in chains. Chains में हम किसको करते हैं? Animals, है ना? So he said, Puru is a brave man. I don't want to see him in chains. Remove the chains and bring him here. The soldier goes out. Alexander, they should not have put him in chains. He's a king besides being a great soldier. Alexander को अभी भी लगता है he should not have been put into chains because वो है तो king ना. After, so what if he's fighting with me? So what if he has been defeated by me? But for his own people, he's the king. And who would like, we जैसे अभी Mr. Narendra Modi है ना, we don't want him to see imprisoned. We don't want him to see in chains. ऐसा होगा तो we'll feel bad, no? So that's what Alexander बोला, his people will feel bad if we put him in chains. And he's a king and a great soldier. Puru enters with 4 Greek soldiers following him. Alexander and the generals stand up to greet him. This you should learn. हमारी enemy भी आ जाए तो we must pay respect to them. Puru joins the palms of his hands, like he joins his hands and raises them to his forehead to return the greeting. He also greets them. To the soldier, you may go. The soldiers bow and go out. Alexander to Puru, well, how are you, Porus? Puru, my name is Puru, I'm not Porus. Like, it is not good to distort somebody's name. It's not good to change the name for a person. वो name उसका identity होता है. So Puru said, my name is not Porus, I'm Puru. Alexander, all right. Are you sorry for the mistake you made, Puru? He said, are you sorry for the mistake you made? Puru said, I made no mistake, sir. Alexander, didn't you reject my proposal? The mistake was he rejected the proposal. No? He refused to come under his power. Puru, I did. I know I refused your proposal. I refused to be your vassal. ऐसे kings को ना vassals कहते हैं. Those who accept the superiority of the other king, they work under the other king, but in their own land, they are kings. तो वो होते तो kings हैं for their people, but actually उनके ऊपर भी एक king होता है. So they are called vassals. So Puru said, yes, I refuse to be your vassal. Why should I accept your supremacy? Alexander, do you know that many kings have gladly agreed to be my vassals? So many kings have agreed to become my vassals. Like they have taken me as the superior king. Puru, hoga, I know that. And I also know that none of them is Puru. They must not. Puru means bravery का synonym है. So he said, of course उन्होंने accept कर लिया होगा, I'm sure. क्योंकि वो Puru नहीं है. They are not brave. They just want to be kings, but they are not brave. So they accepted your proposal. Puru, I know that, and I also know that none of them is Puru. First general to the second general, he is indeed a very proud man. वो first general बोल रहा है, he's a very proud man. देखो कैसे बात कर रहा है. Alexander says, Don't you realize that you are my prisoner? How can you talk so proudly? Don't you realize आप मेरे prisoner हो? You are a prisoner in front of me. Puru says, I do. But that doesn't make any difference to me. So what? आपने मुझे prisoner बनाया है. So what? I'm still a king. I'm still the lawful king of my country. For my people, I'm still the king. And why should a king bow to another king? Alexander, how shall I treat you? क्या करें तुम्हारे साथ? Puru says very coolly, as a king should treat another king. What a lovely answer, no? As a king should another king. This line has gone down in history. Do you know, children? This line is very famous. It has become very famous. Like Puru answered, जैसे एक king को दूसरा king के संग behave करना चाहिए. You should do that to me. Alexander, Puru, you're a brave man. I'm pleased with you. I want to be friends with you. Alexander forgot all the enmity. He forgot that Puru was his prisoner and he had come to rule over India. He forgot all that and he said, Puru, I have become your fan. I just want to be friends with you. Will you be a friend to me? Puru says, on one condition. Alexander says, what's that? Puru, my kingdom should remain independent and you should treat me as your equal, not as your lower, not as your subordinate. You should treat me as equal because आप अपने king हो, I am my land's king. And my country, my kingdom should remain independent. हमें किसी का we don't want anyone to rule over us. If I am the king, I should remain the king. Alexander says, agreed. I am proud of you, of your friendship, my brother. Alexander so agrees to everything that Puru said. Puru, even I'll do my best to be worthy of the friendship of Alexander the Great. Now even Puru is paying respect to him and his bravery, and he says, I'll do everything for this friendship for my friendship with Alexander the Great. Puru gave him the name Alexander the Great. Okay, so how did you like the story, children? I thought find it getting goosebumps हो रहे मेरे को. I'm feeling I'm feeling something from inside. Such a lovely story. ऐसा लगता है ना कि as if they are right in front of us and talking like kings and proudly talking to each other and then becoming friends. Okay, so you're going to read it. We'll discuss it online. And whatever doubts, clear it there. Okay? Bye-bye.